anyway, yeah, I grew up here, and I'm a third generation Slovenian, and very proud of it. My other half happens to be, I'm split down the middle of Italian. My mom, Katie Dolly, was Katie Kladnik Kelly Dodd, was Italian, so I'm a member of the Italian Lodge as well, and so I kind of got dual citizenship for well. But it was kind of fun. We were here. We were visiting. My sister and I were visiting the museum, and we looked at, and we knew we donated this to the museum. This was my grandfather's, and so we were talking to Charlene, and I said, well, I know. Mike Vittori could give the talk on the Italian heritage, and I said, well, if you ever need me, you know. So I threw out the volunteer, and it took about a month. Yeah. So, very happy and honored to be able to do this and share some of the things I know, and I really enjoy just like digging in a little bit because I'm a college professor now, and so research is kind of my thing, and of course putting PowerPoints is the other thing that I do a lot of as I teach. So we're going to talk a little about just the Slovenia. There's so much history of the background of that country and Yugoslavia and the separation of the wars and all the different ethnic pockets. That just amazes me. It's really hard to keep track. I think I could spend the whole hour just talking about that. So I'm going to condense a little bit. But another really important thing, as Charlene said, is the Slovenian Lodge, and that's very dear to my heart. As my dad, Grandpa, and I are 96 years as we are the president of that. So it trickled down over those years. So I'll share that a little bit. And that really is the impetus for this talk, is just talk about the Slovenian Lodge and what Slovenia is. So anyway, speaking of the outfit, this is me a few years ago on the parade, wearing that same outfit. As Charlene said, I graduated with Bonnie in 1968. That makes us, what, 42 years old now? Yeah. Then I went to Central and finished there and did the rest of my schooling at University of Arizona. And I was very unique. I had a neighbor by the name of Fraser McDonald. I don't know if you ever remember that. He was our football coach for years. And I was kind of a scrawny kid. And so he says, you ever think of like being a manager for the football team? And I go, you know, I'm not going to play, so I might as well be around the sports. And I love sports, trickle down from my dad. And so I end up learning how to tape an ankle on Bonnie's ankle, by the way. I owe my career to her. And it's true. She brags about it all the time. Anyway, and then so I became an athletic trainer, sports athletic trainer. And some of you know, so I taped an ankle. We're out there and provide water and do all the rehab with the athletes. And my career is finished in Arizona, Willamette University, Whitworth, I know it. It'll take me a minute here. Whitworth, University of Idaho, Oregon State, Eastern Oregon, and I ended up my career back 25 years ago in Ellsberg, where I started it. And then I took a job for 8 years as director of rehab for KVH. So I kind of stepped out of athletics, and then I retired, or did I? In 2016, and then Central called me in to start teaching some classes, and I haven't said no in 10 years, but my wife's got something to say about that. So that's kind of my story, and again, the president of the Slovenian Lodge. Kind of important. So Slovenia, like I told you, and some of you probably have more research and more knowledge and background than I did, but I mean, from the 5th century, Slovenia has developed over the years in its culture and all of that. But it's went through so many of the struggles and the border changes and things of that nature. And so, again, it became Yugoslavia years ago. It was one big country. And I used to think I was Yugoslavian because I was Yugoslavian. But then it became, in 1991, it became Slovenia. So there were actually, as you can see there were 6 republics in Yugoslavia at one time. And some of you can probably relate to these. Croatians, Herzegovina, Bosnia, Serbians, Montenegros, Macedonians, and Slovenians. Very proud to say, once we all became independent, guess who was the first one to become sovereign? Yay. It was us. The 10-Day War, again, I did a little research on that. And we became independent, and all these other ones became their own separate countries as a result of that. But again, it was all, the borders were changing, as I'll explain here. The mass immigration, and that's really where the Slovenians start coming. They realized so much was going on in their countries, and the wars, and the poverties, and the things like that, that they started immigrating to the United States because they thought they'd make a better living and a better life for themselves. Not just Slovenians, but again, all the other ethnics as well. But as I discovered, a lot of them went to Cleveland, Chicago. That's where that's where the SMPJ Lodge started back in those two cities, and again it grew from there. Okay, and then Western Pennsylvania, because of coal mine work, and even the Italians. My grandpa Dolly was a coal miner, came here as a coal miner as well. So the coal mines, Cle Elum, Rosley, is what got a lot of our relatives here. And I know that all of you could speak the same way about your family. And so they followed the coal mine trail from Pennsylvania into Colorado, Montana, Washington, and again, all these other ethnics, just to name a few, kind of did the same thing. Because there was work here. There was work, there was money, there was prosperity, there was a future that wasn't back home in the old country. So anyway, here's my grandparents' story. And some of you, my cousin Frank here is grandparents as well. Raymond and Francis Kladnik. Grandpa was born in Luce, Austria. It was Austria then. Yeah. It wasn't Yugoslavia or Slovenia. It was Austria when he was born in 1891. Okay, before it became, again, until the borders changed. And he was being drafted in the Austrian army, and his mother said, "No, go to America. We don't want you to go to war. Go to America." My grandfather's dad died when he was young, so she sent him to the United States. And he had a friend and says, "Okay, I found a job here in Sublette, Wyoming, in the coal mines. You want to come?" He said, "Sure." So he boarded a ship in Paris, and he was on the ocean in 1912. Wow. Ring a bell? Yeah. On a different ship, though. They did not know that. They just thought that the Titanic went down. He was on a ship, the Atlantic. There just wasn't the communication. So his mom thought he might have perished in the Titanic. So he loves telling that story. I was on the right ship, I think is what he says. So he came and worked in the coal mines, and then the other place he worked. Fortunately, my dad had done a really good job of doing a lot of just writing down a lot of these dates and times. So these are things I really appreciate in my mom and dad's handwriting, that I was able to do a lot of this research, come out a lot of these details. So work in the coal mines. Here's the fun part. So he gets over here, ends up in Black Diamond, okay, working the coal mines there, and he raises up money to have his mother come from the old country here to join him, because that was the plan when he left, right? And she says, "No, I'm too old." But there's this young girl by the name of Frances, 8-9 years younger. So when my grandpa left, it's like 20 years old, 19, 20 years old, like 11, 12, right? And he says, I don't really remember of that woman, because she wasn't a woman, she was a child. He says, "I'm sending Frances instead." And that's one of those. And so sent Frances, my grandma. I'm Kenneth Francis. So, anyway, sorry about that. But anyway, she came. So here's this. Now it's my grandpa in this suit as well. You can see it's great that you guys preserved it, that it's here. So now and this is their house in 2nd Street, Cle Elum, and wow, this is young grandma and grandpa there. But I wanted to share a couple of those pictures. But yeah, he was in his he was in his regalia there. I have some other pictures of that. I think they marched in parades and they did stuff like that as well. So anyway, that's Grandpa Kladnik and Grandma. So, and then my dad, as Charlene had said, he was born in Black Diamond. So he was born in Black Diamond, and then a couple years later, he found work over here in the Cle Elum mines. He worked in the Jonesville 7 and the 9 mines. He was a timbersman, and the timbersman does not dig coal. It's one that does the work on shoring up all the mine shafts. So he worked as a timberman in those mines for many years, and then after the mines had closed in the 50s, he went to work actually in 49 for Cle Elum to be the custodian. Some of you remember him being the janitor at Cle Elum High School.
I worked with him.
Yeah.
I did.
So, but he brags about the fact that he worked till he was 70, brags about the fact that he was 12 years there, so that means he graduated. He loved telling that story too. And then he passed away at 101 years old in 82, and my grandma lost her much earlier, unfortunately. But anyway, there's a couple of dapper Dans there, aren't they? So, this is my Uncle Frank and my dad and them as youngsters. I did that for Frankie as much as anything else, but just the two brothers. Okay, you know, when you talk about any heritage and any background ethnicity, they have their foods, right? I'm sure Mike probably talked about some of the foods that us, the other half of me, the Italians, like to eat, and the bagna calda and all that stuff. But I was blessed to be able to have my grandma, and I spent a lot of time with her house. I can remember sometimes I slept there as much as I did my own house. She lived 1 block away from me. And so as a little boy, I just loved that. But our Slovenian foods, I think somebody, I talked about this talk, says, you know what I remember about the ethnic part of my family is the foods. The foods. Remember a lot of things that we did and customs, but the food seems to always stick out. So I wanted to share a little bit about what I discovered about the foods. But what typically, and I don't know about Germans and the others, but usually lunch was their biggest meal of the day, and breakfast a little lighter, coffee, pastries, s'morn. I'll get to s'morn in a minute. I'll tell you about that. And then we'd have, fairly significant lunch. This is typical of Slovenians. And the dinner, if you didn't eat it all, you'd use it for dinner, and then sausages and sauerkraut. This is probably most Eastern European type of diets as well. Here's Grandma Kladnik's cooking. This is what I grew up with. Coffee. I had to drink coffee. I hated coffee, but I put about, 8 teaspoons of sugar in it, and I mashed it. And this is called grumpa. Anybody ever heard of that? It's pieces of pork and lard. So she had this little jar of lard, and she cut little pieces like bacon pieces, but they're like chunks, and put it in there, and she put it in the pan, and then we put eggs with that, and then s'morn. And s'morn, if you're interested, I have a great recipe for it, but it's shredded pancakes. Anybody heard of s'morn? Shredded pancakes? I'll make it quick. It's really easy. I made it the other day. You mix the egg whites and the yolks, and then you kind of a pancake, and then you put it in some oil, and with some flour and sugar, and then chop it up. And so it's just chopped up pancake, but it reminds me of my grandma. And then, of course,
you didn't have any. I'm not thinking of pancakes with this syrup and stuff, but you shredded that, and that was that.
No, you put butter and sugar. Yeah, butter and syrup or jam or something like that. But anyway, but you could look it up on the internet. But yeah, I remember her mess. That was my favorite things. And then we always got pastries from the Cle Elum Bakery. Right, Frank and I, we'd have to go down there. They give us 50 cents, and we go buy all the pastry we could buy. Back in the day, right? We all know, but we always had pastries and French bread from the Cle Elum Bakery. Lunch, meat, tuna. This is my favorite, Dutch punch. Unfortunately, no longer. And I actually remember this. I don't know if anybody ever had done that, but my grandma Kladnik and I go out back behind her house and pick dandelions, and we had dandelion. Yeah, Roy knows.
Easter.
Yeah,
Every Easter.
yeah, we had that a lot, a
Yeah,
lot.
we did too.
And then going out in the back, you don't know where the dogs would poop. So that's you just hope you wash it well. But she made that pretty regular. You remember that, right, Frank? So, and then again, and soup. You know, dinner was typically some soup. Oh yeah, I had to throw this in because the liver and onions, they were a staple. Kidneys and rice. And then she cooked a fried chicken, was the best fried chicken ever. Then I realized it cooked in lard. And probably the most unhealthy but taste. Everything was lard. You know, I do it, and then stuffed cabbage quite a bit. So that's the things I remember. And of course, the strudel petitza, and then actually, yeah, blood sausage too. I should put that in there, blood sausage. So that's kind of what some of Grandma's stuff. But anyway, so that's a little about the background and just kind of the family significance. Now, the Slovenian Lodge was not just in Cle Elum. We had one in Roslyn too, and I have an old picture of that. But and the idea of these lodges, like any of the other lodges, the Italian and the Polish and the others as well, they came here not knowing the language, just want to stay in their in their groups and connect with each other and getting to again integrate into our culture. But all the immigrants, they came and they kind of lived together and they worked together and they started socializing. But one of the things, and like I said, we are continually active for 107 years in Cle Elum by itself. So there's huge history, and I'll share some things with you that probably might surprise you a little bit. But anyway, it was formed in 1904. We started in 1907. This is 1904 on the flag, 1907, 3 years after, okay, to offer affordable insurance. People just think, oh, they're a lodge, they're just a bunch of people getting together and being social. But no, SMPJ started as selling insurance because you couldn't buy insurance as an immigrant in those days. And so in order to be a lodge member, you had to have an insurance policy. That was the key. And fortunately, they bought my insurance policy, I think when I was 18, or a child, I think. And my grandson Cubby here, he's the fourth generation, and he's the last one. He just turned 18, so he's now an active lodge member. And fourth generation, he will be the next president of the lodge. Doesn't know that yet, but I'm grooming him, brainwashing, if you will. We'll perpetuate this forever, So again, having insurance was kind of the key, and that was kind of the hook that kind of got these things going together and started the organization. And again, it's based out of Pennsylvania. But again, any of these fraternal unions, and SMPJ being one of them, just preserving the culture, talk the language, eat the food, have fun together, again, over time. And then also, new friendships, just coming to America and having their background and their heritage, and now integrating into the United States. I found this interesting. We call it the SMPJ Lodge, but it's Slovenian National Benefit Society, Slovenska Narodna Pokorna Jenoda. That means that's the actual name of the Slovenian Lodge, but we call it SMPJ. But we keep those letters, even though it's called the SMPJ Lodge. It's the Slovene National Benefits Society, but that doesn't mean SMPJ. But anyway, that's kind of the background and the history of the Slovenian Lodge. So, okay. Again, we talked about insurance, became a lodge member. And the second part of this is they want to be buried together. They want to be in the same cemetery. That was very important in the customs that in their day, that they had their own cemetery. Roslyn Cemetery has the same thing we do. Our Cle Elum Cemetery, my grandfather and then my dad and then myself and with some help from Roy and others, we kept that. We were the only separate cemetery in Cle Elum for many years until just a couple, 4 years ago. We mowed, we watered it, and we maintained it. And we were actually, I was a sexton in the cemetery. We could sell plots, right? Barry knows this, until we kind of relinquished it a few years ago. But we were up there, and Judy's idea, we put our little flags, our Slovenian flags this year. So we're continuing to work and make this, again, important part of our family and our background, and our lineage, to have our cemetery up there. But so we have, actually the lodge purchased that section of the Laurel Hill up in the corner. It used to have the fence, by the way. And when we were managing it ourselves, it's a lot of extra work in the city. Once I turned it over, they took the fence down because it was easier for them to mow. And hopefully water. So, to be a lodge member, you have to have a policy, but we have officers, and myself and my niece Ivory, my brother's daughter Ivory, Kladnik is our secretary treasurer, and then my daughter Alyssa and Cheryl Maris are the other officers that are in our. Okay, and then we have to meet quarterly. This is the thing about these lodges and the requirements that you have to meet. You have to meet, you have to do minutes, you have to maybe do social things, events, and you have to do some good. It's not just to exist, but it's to do some good for your community and things. And so we've managed to do that. And I'm going to give you a little plug here because we have a fundraiser coming on in August. Okay, and the language. And I remember when I was younger, I have a picture of me about that tall at one of our lodge meetings, but they all talk Slovenian. And I think some of you, I call it Swimming Pool Hill because I always have. Okay, you know where the lodge was up there, halfway up by.
Jehovah's Witness.
That
was a Jehovah's Witness church.
Yeah, Jehovah. We came after they bought it from. They bought it, so it was Jehovah Witness. That was our lodge, and they would meet Sundays, just about every Sunday, and I'll show you what they did in a minute. Okay, but again, they speak the language, and again, after a while, then they started, again, more English. I think probably for Frank's dad and my dad, they didn't speak English till they got in school here. They were made fun of because they couldn't speak English, and that was one of the things that we think about, discrimination. But yeah, my dad would speak of that often. That they made fun of him because you don't speak right, or you're not one of us. But that changed. But now I know Dobra Dan. That means hello. I wish I knew more. I'll work on it. Okay. So back to our Slovenian Lodge and our roots in Cle Elum, and particularly that we were chartered here. And these might be some names you recognize. This is actually a copy of our charter, 1919. Again, it was in a frame and it got broken, so some damage. So that's our original charter for the Cle Elum Slovenian Lodge. So Fozars, Vitalics, Albrecht, Zeevarts, the Omens. There, we've heard that name. If you walk around the Cle Elum Cemetery, you'll see a lot of these names on the headstones. Yeah, but I think it was fun. So these are original charter members from 1919. Okay, this is the one. There we go. And I was telling Bonnie, it looks like that's Witt's Hardware, so it had to be in Ellensburg. They must have been marching in a parade and stuff. And this is Grandma Kladnik. I don't really have. They didn't have. Oh, this is Bogate.
Oh, Craig's grandpa.
Craig's grandpa.
Yeah.
Can't remember his
Susan's
first name. Do you remember his first name?
Yeah.
Susan Bogate.
Yeah.
With no.
That's him again.
Yeah.
So, can't remember his first name, but I know it's a Bogate. But it's not a great picture. But that's, again, I wonder if Craig still has that from his grandpa. But anyway, this is them, again, their customs, you know, dressing up, being a part of that, walking in the, I don't know. So rodeo wasn't around then. But they must have had a parade in Ellensburg, Woods Hardware.
I don't think that's Woods Hardware.
You know?
Because that was a brick building and it's 3 stories.
This one over here?
Clear on the other side.
On the,
I wouldn't know what this is. I mean,
that
it
would be
could
the
have,
Moose, or the old motel.
could be.
Maybe it is.
I'm taking a stab at that.
It
That's
could
the only
be.
thing I can figure.
It could be. It
But
does
anyway-
make
But
sense.
anyway,
Yeah, whoops.
so there's the outfit again. And their pipes. Anyway, so this is what I find out about Rosslyn. And all I have is a picture. But they were also, they had their own lodge up there as well. So Cle Elum had theirs in Rosslyn. I don't know when they dissolved, but they had their own lodge at one time as well. Okay, and this is what I was telling you about for the Jehovah's Witness. We had that. It was multiple stories, and I remember we had this old Wurlitzer jukebox. Remember that? And played there, and they do their meetings. I said up to twice a month, but it was often every Sunday. They would go. Lots of food, lots of drink, lots of singing, lots of dance. Okay. Lots of that. But they had to have to sell that. I couldn't tell you why, but they, you know, again, over time, people move, people pass away, things of that nature. Anyway, this is let's look at this picture first. This is the ladies. See all their pastries, and see that. This is Steffi Stetz, I know that.
Steffi.
This she rings a bell now. You could her name, but this is my mom. Some of you might know. So this is my grandma Kladnik, Steffi Stetz, my mom, and these I'm not sure. But you see, they've made their bread, they made their pastries. Then you look at the dudes over here. What do they got in front of them? Yeah. There are probably some Slivovitz in there. This is Mitch, and this is Leo.
Yeah.
That's my grandpa. That's Lil Lemche.
Oh, yeah.
And guys, I wish they were labeled, you know. But I just thought that it's the same. It's the men, and then the ladies. And it looks like the same table, so they did their thing. But I just get a kick out of that.
You know, it looks a lot like the table in front right here.
Yeah. Same table.
Where's the booze?
No Slivovitz, though. I think I gave my last bottle of Slivovitz to Mike Batorik. The last 2 or 3, wasn't it? There was a bunch in my dad's thing. Anyway, and so this is some of the lodge meeting, the things that they did up there. And, you know, here's the American flag. They really became Americanized. They had their own culture, but they integrated into to this country, and we all became citizens and all of that. It was very special. So this is my grandpa getting a 40. It looks like you're a little stiff today. 40 to remember. This is, I don't think of the name, Petrich.
Which one?
She's
Mary?
Petrich.
Mary.
Yeah, Augie's mother. Augie's
Oh,
mother.
you're kidding.
This I quit tell who it is, but this would be Augie's mother. And this is 3 Ks, Kathy, Kenny, and Keith.
That is?
Yeah, Keith. So you know that's
That's an old picture.
yeah, thank you. Actually, it was a clipping out of the newspaper, is what it was. So, again, back to the lodge. And like I said, the majority of my knowledge and experience has really come from the research in the lodge and what my grandpa and the grandma shared with me and my dad over the years. But my grandpa and then he came here in 26. They joined the lodge as a member, and then he actually took over, became the president in 29. This short internship, and then my dad took over for him in 90. And then my dad appointed me. He appointed me. I remember saying, "You're the new president." There was no ballot, no vote, no Robert's Rule of Order. It's just you're taking over. He died 2 years later in 2005, so I guess he wanted to put the lodge in. So 61, 12, and 20 years in county, and 96 years. I probably should share that with maybe not. With the National Lodge, that's pretty neat. You would see that, and then come. Here's something that's interesting. In 2007, we had 17 members. That was it. That was who was here in our community. Were active, and we continued to meet. Fortunately, they dropped the number of the quorum down to 3, or we'd have been screwed. But we continue to have our meetings, and now we actually have some on Zoom. I know, but so we can always have a quorum. So we had 17, and this year we have 252. We just had our meeting. We have 10 locals. Unfortunately, the 7 are the ones that pass. Olga Patovich, and of course my dad, my mom, and Angie Brisky. And others that were in the lodge. Yeah. So we are the only active chapter, and as Charlene said, in Washington. I thought it was Washington. Now we're in the whole Northwest. I did a deep dive into all the different lodges, and there are only 63 now, and about 40 of them are in Pennsylvania, and a few in Chicago or Iowa, and as far as the Northwest and West, there's like 2 in the whole state of California. So the fact that we're very unique that we're continuing to do this, and part of the reason, and a good part of the reason, and I'm really proud to say, here's our active lodge members. Cheryl, my brother, this is my daughter, Shirley and Alan Petrich, Andrew Cubby, my son, and Gary Pat. These are the 10 that are actually in the community, would still be in our lodge. And now a few years ago, we added social members. So this is going to be an open invite too. So Charlie was one of the first ones we started talking. He came to a meeting, and we talked about that. So we have now added social members, and you probably recognize a lot of that. Judy's here. We got a guy from over in Issaquah, heard about our lodge. He comes over for meetings now. Just interested in the culture, not dropping the culture, not leaving it to the next generation, but preparing the next generation to understand the importance of our lodge and the activity of the lodge. But Joan makes the best pizza, right? Our newest member, Lois here. So this has really helped to motivate and stimulate our lodge to be active, come to meetings. It was Judy's idea to put the Slovenian flags on the headstones, and just do some stuff. And that's really fun part of what I get to be able to be a part of it. And I hope I can continue for many years in doing that. But social members, they don't have to buy insurance. I did research on the insurance. Well, it's really expensive. It's like 3 or 4 times what you could buy. And there's, if you want to be a lodge member, so I talked to National, can we have social members? So they pay a one-time fee, and they're in our, they can't hold an office is really the only thing, but they can pay their dues, and they can do all that stuff and help us with our activities. So we're always looking for more social members. And if you're interested, I'll have a notepad back there if you're interested in knowing more, or just finding out about becoming a member. Our meetings are, we do them quarterly. We just had ours. We actually had ours on Memorial Weekend at the cemetery. We've been doing that for years. So we did a cemetery cleanup, and we put a pop-up and some tables and chairs, and had our meeting there. And we have another one in September. Then we have one at the Sunset. And then we have one in February. So we try to meet and again connect and do some fun stuff together and just get to know each other better as well. So anyway, and Shirley, I was hoping Shirley could make it, but Shirley was most all of you know Shirley, right? You know, she's so busy taking care of Alan and what have you. So she was our secretary, and I made this thing for her and put it in the newspaper because she kind of retired from being our secretary over 30 years, and she kept this thing going between my dad and myself over years as well. And so, a little bit about the Slovenian cemetery, because as I mentioned earlier, we wanted to have my ancestors, my grandpa and the lodge members needed their own area, so they were able to. I don't know how they raised the money or what they did, but they bought a section of Cle Elum Cemetery, actually 2 sections, and I'll show you some slides here as well. But they just wanted their own, and so we maintained it, took care of it. But again, we had to kind of give it up. I live in Sealand now, so I'm not up here. And we were doing some things. In fact, when my dad died, my mom's up here pulling hoses and water in it, and take care of it. And now we're trusting the city to do it, but not too excited about what they have not been doing what they thought we'd hope. But so I still do water. I still mow it, and very well. I see Roy up there pulling out his weed eater, keeping it nice as well. So anyway, one of the things that if you were a member of the lodge, you automatically had a plot in the cemetery. And so all the ones I wrote into the agreement when we relinquished it, that if you were an active lodge member in our community, not any of those 200 from outside, so we all have our free burial plots as a result of that. Anyway, there are a few people you might recognize in there. My mom, this is my aunt, she just passed, unfortunately, Regina. So we hear her. This is my beautiful wife. Who's this guy? Ring a bell.
Stan.
That's Stan, Alan, Roy. I'm the only one sweating. I noticed that. Sure. This is my daughter, Shirley. Who's this? Stand up, Cubby. That's you. That's you. Cubby, you see that was a while ago, but my dad had this sign. It's still there. This is still there. We had that sign made, and again, we're taking care of the cemetery. One of our cleanup days. And when we gave the cemetery back to the city, we gave them ownership. And one of the things I wanted to do is make sure that this was recognized. And so I wrote a grant and got this sign made. So if you're up there, if you stop to see it and read it. But this is just the history of our Slovenian cemetery. Many immigrants came from Europe, migrated to Cle Elum, Ross, and Ronald to work the coal mines. To preserve their heritage and culture of their homelands, social and fraternal unions, such as the Slovenian Lodge membership, included a portable insurance and no-cost burial. The site was purchased by the SMPJ in 1916 by Lodge 79. There were actually 2 lodges in Cle Elum I discovered, by the way. We were 371, it was 279. Or 79, and ownership transferred in 59, so that Lodge 371, which is our lodge. It was the duty of the lodge president also to serve the Sexton Cemetery for 96 consecutive years. It's been one of the Kladniks. So anyway, that's up there. Here's a picture. Some of you know Cheryl. This is my brother Keith, his daughter. There's Cubby again, and my daughter. When we put that sign on, again, you probably saw that newspaper. And that's Baden, Keith's daughter. So that's kind of the story I have about our Slovenian background, my ancestries, the start of the lodge, the why we have lodges, what the value and continue activity of our lodges. And so one of the things, we've had some speakers, we've done some things, but last year, both my brother and Alan Petrish have Alzheimer's. So we put a cornhole tournament together, and some of you are aware of that. I was in the newspaper, but we hosted it the first year, and these are some of the folks that were there. And we raised $905 for Alzheimer's with only 18 people, because the people were generous and donated. And so this is one of the things, of course, we have a national newspaper called Prosveta, comes out monthly, and you know, they like to see that we're doing things within the community, and this is one of those things. Not only was it fun, we sold pizza, we did some fun things. I had my Slovenian flag blowing in the breeze, and so we did that. And guess here's oh yeah, everybody knows this gal, doesn't she? She had more fun than anyone. Joni never played in her life. She was pretty good, and she had a ball. And Jared Weiss here. We just had a bunch of fun. We're at City Park, and it was just all about, you know, being able to do something for the community, and then raise some money, and then have some fun doing it. And so, guess what? We're doing it again. And so, and I know we've had some meetings, we're going to have some more meetings before it happens, but I did put some of these, if you know anybody, or if you're interested, come and watch them and have some fun and even put pizza with us. It's going to be on the 15th at Drew Brew, and they're really nice to be able to just offer that. The city had to pay fees and jump through hoops and fire marshal. I mean, it was ungodly. They said, yeah, come on down. Come on down. And so we've reserved that day and that time for our lodge, and again, towards Alzheimer's research. And so that's kind of the something that we're going to continue to do. And cornhole's fun. Some of the people had never hardly ever played, but they still have fun. And we do a format that we don't want ringers. You know, we don't want good people. We want people to have fun. And cornhole's such an easy game. And I didn't win, so yeah, I was okay with that. I'm pretty competitive. I was okay with that, even if I did come in second. But it was all fun. But being able to send that much money to Alzheimer's was kind of really happy. So, any questions?
Yeah,
Comments? Yes.
what was the insurance for? Was it just to be
Life
buried?
insurance. And there was life and health insurance. It was both. I remember the health. I remember the policy. I looked at my policy not long ago, and it was like $5 a day in the hospital for one aspirin. It's ridiculous. But yeah, it was life, and then there was some health insurance, but the benefits were really minimal.
But in the 50s, $5 was a
Yeah,
lot.
back then it was something.
Yeah, it used to.
Yeah. So that's
Ken, how much is the do they still have it,
what.
the insurance?
Oh yeah.
So how much is the premium now?
You know, I went and did a lot of comparisons. I went to their
Right.
policy, and depends on your age and all that kind of stuff. But it's like, all I can say is 3 to 4 times more than you could buy it online.
Really?
Oh yeah.
I
Yeah.
thought you were kidding.
No, I'm not. No. No.
Oh, wow.
It was a lot. So we were looking to have some other, Charlie, join us.
Yeah.
Don't waste your time on playing on insurance. So that's kind of the reason we went with the social membership thing,
Okay.
and because it was just prohibitive, In the day it was fine. I think when we bought Cubby's policy, we paid his lifetime policy when he was a baby was $600-700, something like that. A one-time premium back then. That's
That was a
18
lot.
years ago. Things have changed, but yeah, the insurance was kind of the motivator to start these lodges. Without that, we wouldn't probably have. I don't know about the Italians. Did you have that kind of thing, Mike?
No.
You didn't have to have insurance policies, but
The Polish lodges.
Polish does have
Yeah,
policy.
Croatian has.
Croatian.
How about annuities? Because Croatia, the main lodge, a little silly, an annuity if you didn't want to get a insurance.
For policy,
Yeah.
yeah. I would have had to become an agent. It was quite a bit. They kind of make it really tough.
Yeah.
Again, if you live in Pennsylvania and you know all that kind of stuff, I wanted to get my niece. They have a thing, SMPJ, Miss SMPJ, right? You know, and so I bought her a Miss SM when she was born. I bought her an SMPJ like onesie, future Miss SMPJ, and I sent it in. They said, "Oh, she's not a member. They won't. She's." And so in order they have the thing, but anyway, Cubby's the only one we put in. Unfortunately, we have 5 other grandkids, but we didn't. The policy that was on us and their parents, but we talked about it. We just didn't do it.
What about the Prozeta?
The newspaper?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it's half in Slovenian and half in English.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, you still get it? You get it?
No, and I forgot all about it.
Yeah, yeah.
Where do you get it?
I
mean, how do you get it?
Send it
Oh,
to
oh.
You have to be a member.
Yeah,
Subscribe.
we get it. I get it obviously, but you know, and Cheryl and my daughter, if they're an active member, you get it monthly. And they talk. Most of their activities are back in Pennsylvania, and they have bowling and they have golf and talk about. But they have stories about the old country and Ljubljana and Bled, and they have stuff in there. I remember when Grandpa Kladnik, right, would read that cover to cover about 10 times, right?
Yeah.
In Slovenian and in English. So
Yeah.
thanks for asking that question because that was good. I was actually going to bring a copy. But
Can
yeah,
you still subscribe to it?
I don't know. But
Okay.
I'll be happy to share my copy.
No, I'd like to see it. It seems
I
like there
won't
was a
bring some.
little cartoon in it,
Yeah.
or there was something in it that was always funny. I thought.
Maybe they used to have the youth
Recipes
one. They used to have a youth one where they had a lot of games and stuff for kids when we were small.
Maybe that's what I'm
Yeah.
thinking of.
Yeah, I don't have those, but yeah, we have the newspaper and it's probably 8 pages. It's not much.
Well, I know it doesn't. I don't remember it to be a lot when I
But
was
it was
little.
a story, and I always try to put at least once a year, maybe more, put something that we do about our lodge or our lodge meetings. I kind of keep us active and
Right.
known, I guess, more than anything. That's why people hear about us.
On your map, do you know where on that map your family came?
I do.
Is that
I
are
do.
those recent boundaries right now?
Yes.
We're gonna update it.
They changed
This
the
one here?
boundaries again?
Yeah. This is the most recent one I found, and I think it's the prettiest one too. But, so Ljubljana is here, right? And here's the Austrian border
Yeah.
that we were talking. This is this is why I was interested because Luce is right, Frank, right?
Yes, it's
Is it here?
right by the border. See a Maribor up there?
Yeah,
It's to the
Maribor.
left
Yeah.
and up north.
right,
It's all about 5 miles from the border to Austria.
right.
Lucha.
Lucha. But it
That's
was Austria when Grandpa was born there.
That's
Oh,
a
Because
Austria, yes.
it was Austria, because
Yeah,
on
he was
his
Austrian,
birth
yeah.
certificate it
Because
says,
he likes Franz Joseph.
right. So that's why I said the border, so it was right in here, somewhere.
Right.
Okay, but that's where Lucha is. So but anyway, but it was Austria. So that's why it's confusing, these borders change, not like our, but that was so many years ago.
Ken, have you traveled over there at all?
27, I'm going in 27. My cousin Frank has been there many times, my grandpa and my dad went numerous times. I
went twice, I think.
twice.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna plan on going, my wife said, because I still teach. Every year they give me another contract and I sign it. But I'm committing this to my cousin Frank and my wife. 27, yeah. 27, we're gonna save up all our money and
Better buy the ticket.
take Heavy with us, or integrated into that. But yeah, I wish you would have asked that question. Now I'm not an expert. I'm a book expert. I'm not a real, but I do know the Slovenian Lodge. I do know that part of it.
Our Osmanovich family was not too far away. We're down in the middle part of Croatia. But we say Povitica.
Povitica, yeah.
Yeah. You guys say Potica.
No, we say it right. We say it right.
And the generation say, oh, you're not.
Potica.
Oh.
Right here. Judy says Potica. I go Potica as well. But anyway, it's really interesting, really fun. Again, I appreciate this chance to share a little bit. I mean, I wish I did more, but I'm gonna learn more. You know, we'll try to.
Can you tell us what that is?
What's that?
Potica.
Okay. Can you explain that? Potica.
It's kind of a bread dough, and then they put different fillings on top of it.
Really thin.
I like it. Or
No.
Fruit, cottage cheese.
yeah, and then they roll it up.
And then you let it raise. You let the dough raise first, then you crunch it, then you roll it.
Angie Brisky used to make it.
Joni
Bresnikar
makes it.
And
Yeah.
Joni,
Yeah.
Joni.
The fruit roll.
Fruit roll.
And foam roll.
Angie's.
Thank you.
Anything else? Thank you all for coming.